guys.
Welcome back to Wild Speculations. I'm Daniel.
I'm Scott.
This week, we talk about Critical Role Campaign 2, Episode 90.
Yep.
Bathhouses and Bastions. You can tell they were away for a while.
Yes.
Very much like our game nights when we have been away for a while.
Yes.
Half the night spent talking about shit that's not game related. Although they did better in this episode than we probably do.
Much.
But yeah, fun episode.
Yeah.
And right off the bat, they're talking about licking their wounds and getting over the fight still. And they talk about whether or not you should lick wounds, urine, the use of urine, dog versus human mouth, jellyfish.
Dog versus human urine.
Yes. Interesting note, urine is sterile.
Yes.
And when you boil it, it produces ammonia. Urine was so valuable that Augustus Caesar put a tax on it.
I knew that. I knew you'd put a tax on it.
Yep. Because it basically that was the basis for laundry detergent.
Yeah.
So. And in 13th Warrior, when after the first attack, she's seeing to his head wound, Antonio Banderas' character.
Gotcha.
And he says, "What is that?" as she's putting the poultice on. And she says, I can't remember exactly what she says, but mixed them with boiled cow urine. And he says, "Get that filth off of me." He says, "Water." She's like, "You're fine, it'll be runny and pussy." It's like, I ain't fine.
Yeah, I harken back to the dodgeball line. No, I don't have to drink my own urine, but it's sterile and I like the taste.
Yeah. Big catch-up episode. And Ashley had an interesting aside when they're like, "Wait, do we have to do this?" And it was like, "No, you've already done that." "Well, what about this?" And she's like, "Yeah, now I imagine being away for 8 months."
Yeah.
That's why I never know what the fuck's going on.
Yeah, it was a recap episode, which is good.
Yeah.
I think they needed it. I think we needed it.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, and these breaks are always time where they get more viewers that finally get caught up.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's always the catch-up episode, mid-season break. But one of the things I wanted to talk to you about was, do you think Ford was locked up as a child for lying? When maybe he was telling the truth? Because his scenario that he put forward in the beginning of the episode, going to see the Bright Queen, was awfully specific. Where he's like, they're going to lock us up, and they'll come back and ask us, is that really the truth? And we'll say yes, and they'll lock us up again. And then a few days later, we'll go...
Maybe. I hadn't thought that. I just figured, Travis being paranoid.
Well, yeah. I thought it was funny when Travis is going down this rabbit hole, and I think Matt was getting a little worried, which is why he asked Marisha to make a history check. And then he's like, parlay is a thing. It just doesn't often go anywhere because there's no trusted emissary that either side has.
Yeah.
To work with. Where now Dwindle has the Mighty Nine.
Yeah.
where they're sort of trusted by both sides. And they don't. Now, Liam later, it's a little late on the episode, but I wrote it here in my notes.
Okay.
Because they were sort of going over who they've talked to, who they haven't talked to, and they're making plans for the day. And still, there's no plans to go talk to Vesterogna.
Yeah.
And if they want to bring down the Cerberus assembly, they have to start exposing cracks and driving wedges. And if Vesterogna really wanted to study these things, basically she got snookered by Trent.
Yeah. They're kind of at that point in the campaign where it's like you're in Skyrim and you're running around and you accept all the quests, but you only do like 2 of them. So your quest menu is full, but it's like, I'm never going to do that.
Yeah.
I honestly think at this point, unless Matt ties it directly to the main plot, we're not really going to see too much more with Caleb's backstory, and we're not going to get into Marisha, Bo's backstory. I think it's going to get skipped at this point.
No, I disagree. Because Bo is still on this. We have to find the fangs. They have to find the chains. Oban went to her hometown for a reason.
Yeah.
They will eventually have to get on that. I think almost wrongly, they are focused on this peace talk.
Yeah.
I say almost wrongly because in this grand scheme of stopping the Chained Oblivion's machinations, the peace talks don't matter.
Yeah.
Only insofar as they matter only insofar as to limit the additional chaos that they spread and the allowance of his people to move about and do their thing.
Yeah.
Whereas if peace breaks out, there's less of a chance of that. And if they can actually unite the Empire and Dynasty against this common foe, then, and I think that's the angle that they're going on, is if we can unite them. But I think that's never. I have posited already how I think that could happen, but I don't think it's going to.
Yeah, and I'm just kind of like, they're just, pushing forward and they're dropping all these things. Like, I don't know that we'll see a resolution to Uk'otoa. The resolution just may be that he's partially freed, but still trapped. Don't know that, unless Trent is more in this demon war than he appears to be on the surface. I don't think it doesn't feel like that's gonna get dealt with because they're right there and they're doing nothing about it. They're doing no interactions with it, really.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess. Yeah, it does. It may be until end of campaign when they try to get some kind of closure.
I mean, even in this episode, Caleb drops the personal quest of helping Knot with her personal thing to study this one ultimate end goal. with Bo.
Yeah.
You know.
But I don't think that thus far their attempt to stop these incursions has led him to the potential answers he's seeking.
I see it as a flip. Before they were dealing with things as they came about while they were on their personal quests, and now they're doing these things instead of their personal quests.
I see what you're saying.
Is that, and well, that's kind of the vibe I've been getting the last few episodes, you know.
But Matt, as a DM, never lets those personal things go to the wayside. Matt always ties those things into the overall narrative.
Yeah.
So, yeah, well,
I just feel like we're going to miss out on some of the personal stuff in exchange for the overall story arc at this point.
Well, they've all been doing their level best trying to keep their personal stuff out.
Yeah.
This campaign. Or last campaign, they were chasing it.
Yeah.
Basically.
They were very open with each other about it, and so everyone helped with it.
Yeah.
And here everyone's cards to the chest.
Yeah. Except for Jester, who is the first of them to get closure.
Has she, though?
She found her father. That was her main driving goal.
Okay.
After leaving Nicodranus. She has finally found him. She has spoken with him. He has acknowledged her. She has given him a potential alternate future that he could have the ruby, that her mother could have her love.
Yeah.
That hasn't come together.
Mm.
But she basically, in my view, has all but wrapped up her personal quest that she was on. The only thing she has is buttoning up the noble that she embarrassed.
Yeah, the noble and whatever happens at TravelerCon.
I don't know if that's Jester's story. I think Jester is part of that story.
Okay, fair enough.
But when we're talking personal versus world, I think Jester's personal journey has largely been completed.
Right. The
only thing she has yet to do is truly fall in love and consummate that love. And she now it's turning into a harem show where Jester is the central figure.
Okay.
Because she's got Bo. There were some Yasha moments in this episode where it was like,
well,
so.
And I've been saying there's been Yasha moments since the beginning.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
I still cling to the fact that, you know, I was initially confused when everybody initially paired Bo and Yasha, because yes, Yasha carried Bo down to the seat, but while she was carrying her, Yasha mentioned how cute Jester was, and Bo was like, "Yeah, you have my blessing for that. I think that's totally something you should go for."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Okay, we got Laura and Ashley, and then everyone's like, Bo and Yasha." I'm like, "Wait, no, that's not what that conversation was."
Well, I think everyone was still on the Ford and Jester train, which a lot of people still are.
Yeah. Are you still on the Widow chest?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And every now and then there's little things.
Yeah, oh yeah, there definitely is. And I don't think I'm on any of the trains. I want to see it play out, see how it plays out, but there's not one I'm rooting for more than any of the others.
I think of the relationships between the Mighty Nine. The only one that might happen is Yasha and Bo. Because I don't think the players behind Ford, Jester, and Caleb want a relationship to happen.
Yeah, I agree. Although, I think for the Yasha Bo one to happen, they're going to have a reason to go to Yasha's hometown and deal with her closure on Zula and...
Well, they have that reason if they want to take it. Because this episode especially, Yasha's chasing redemption.
Yeah.
She wants to see that other people that were involved aren't condemned for their involvement. Especially if there was mind control involved.
Yes. I don't know. I think of any of them, she has the most reason to stick on this main quest line that they're on.
Yeah.
In stopping, Tharizdun. Because of her hand, while being controlled by Oban, in setting it into his freedom into motion.
Yeah. Well, and that's going to play into Caduceus, who kind of gave up on finding out what he needed to do with those crystals.
Yeah.
Although maybe he's waiting for another vision.
I mean,
Matt just hasn't given it.
Ford, Caduceus, and Yasha at different points have all been shown an island by their respective gods.
Yeah.
Ford twice from both of his respective gods.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't think it's going to be, but what are the odds that it's this all the same island? I'm sure Ford and Caduceus, the Wild Mother one, but...
Well, Uk'otoa is not involved in Traveler Con. Okay. I say that, but as we started the show,
yeah,
I was thinking, what if, is it beyond the possibility that the Traveler wants Uk'otoa released so that he can be involved in putting it away? Because a trickster god starting the fire so they can put it out to be the hero is right up that alley.
Yeah.
And maybe the Traveler has a plan to permanently end Uk'otoa. And for that plan to happen, Uk'otoa has to be released. Why else would Jester have met Ford? Like, if we want to go the Caduceus route and Destiny,
yeah,
why else does the Traveler send her to meet Ford?
Because of that image of the two of them with the baby.
Yeah.
I mean, that very well could be, but, I think it will feel a little too, I guess, rewritten to fit everything in if the island ends up being the same island in all of these things.
Yeah, well, the reason I say it's not Uk'otoa is because the final lock on it
is mainland.
Is in the mountains north of Nicodranus. But it could very well play into the Stormlord and the Wild Mother.
Yeah.
What they have planned via Yasha.
Now, okay, so here's a question. The gods were initially against the Raven Queen's ascension. And the only reason she got to ascend is because she helped with the chaining of the Chained Oblivion. That was kind of a begrudging We couldn't have done it without you, so yeah, okay. Is the Stormlord and the Wild Mother sending their representatives to stop the ascension of the Traveler?
An interesting twist.
Much like they all went and got the blessings of the respective gods to stop Vecna from ascending. So there's precedent for them doing this kind of thing.
Yes.
I don't necessarily think this. This is just a question that I just thought of.
I mean, that's possible. But I think if the current problem in the heavens is a weakening of the divine gate,
Mm-hmm.
having an archfey ascend might help.
Yeah.
Reinforce the divine gate. Especially one who was keen on getting around it.
Yeah.
Because firms often will hire hackers to buff their security.
Yeah, I mean, that's one way to look at it. The other way is that this guy's trying to get around it too. Let's definitely stop him, because his actions are just going to help weaken it.
Yeah, but the Traveler needs a miracle.
Yes.
And the miracle might be rebuilding the divine gate or reinforcing it.
Yeah. That's true too.
Especially if the theory that started our show is true, and that the Tarask is the final boss.
Yeah.
And its job is to tear down the divine gate.
Yeah.
Or to be such a threat to Exandria that the gods bring the divine gate down.
Yeah. The Tarask is the the skin used for the Chained Oblivion.
Or at least its version of Uk'otoa.
Yeah.
Who is
the Cloak Serpent.
Yes, thank you. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so possibly.
But back to the episode. The Chaos Crew put forward, well, we could just steal it.
Yeah.
And yeah, they could. But I think Caleb is right. I think that's a fortress to get in there.
Yeah.
And I mean, I want to say I'm happy, but that seems mean and wrong. But Jester, I've gotten more and more excited every time Laura takes a step closer to organizing Traveler Con.
Mm.
And in this episode, she's finally started stressing about it.
Yeah.
Do you not find that entertaining?
Mm. It's for me. It's more of Laura's mnemonic device to remember that it's coming.
Fair.
Oh,
and I also loved the new potential spiritual weapon she might be bringing to bear. The cartoonish piano drop.
Yeah.
I hope that becomes a thing. And I thought that she had minor illusion, but she has minor image.
Yes. Minor image, she gets at 3rd level. Minor illusions, I can't trip.
Yeah.
Which she could easily get with the magic initiate feat.
Yeah. Because this was a case of Matt allowing things that maybe he shouldn't have. Although my headcanon is the piano that she summoned, it wasn't making any sound at all. It was all gesture, just like Laura making the sound.
Yeah. that is mine as well.
We also got a lot of discussion of light cleric yoga in this episode. I think 4 total callbacks by the end of the episode.
Something like that.
Which was funny. Although, I don't know if Matt appreciated the canonization of the elf Gwyneth in Exandria.
Yeah. And I'm surprised that one came from the person who it did. As Marisha's usually the one that's like, hey, nope, we can't. Nope.
Yeah.
Arian on the side of caution there.
Yeah. But they go back to the library.
They do.
And Ford goes to the spa.
Yep. Shopping, studying, and spas.
An interesting move for Ford. And I almost wish Travis was on Talks.
Yeah.
So that we could ask why.
Well, I don't think Ford is really the library type of guy.
True.
And Travis is definitely not the shopping type of guy.
True.
Those were the 2 options that the rest of the group did.
Yes. But he's never really been the spa guy either.
True. Well, I don't
That's
know.
why
With that British, that posh accent, maybe he was into spas back as an orphan in Exandria. Sneaking into the bathhouses.
Yeah, maybe.
I still think Ford is from Tal'Dorei. Simply because his native accent is British, and everyone with a British accent is from Tal'Dorei.
Accents are not canonical, really.
It's true.
Matt has regions that he thinks of culturally and inserts those accents. But the accents that the players choose are independent of any of that.
It's true.
And Northright, yes, Ford can read. None of them have an intelligence that's too low that they can't read. Although Ashley was playing a little in that space.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out.
And I think that's a throwback to barbarians. Because it used to be no matter what your intelligence was, if you were a barbarian, you couldn't read unless you spent skill points in reading to pick up proficiency.
That did make me think how sad it would have been for Grog to have gotten that tome.
Yeah.
And to not be able to make use of it because he can't read. But yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out where, because Yasha's intelligence, I think, is a 12.
I think so.
And I don't know, sometimes she seems to be trying to play a lower intelligence. But then like when she was talking about the jellyfish, or when she was trying to find the right word, I was like, well, maybe she's trying to illustrate that she's smart. She knows there's a word for it, but her low charisma, she's playing as she can never find the right one.
Yeah, that's possible.
So that's sort of how I've rationalized it. And that's a question I don't think she'll be asked tonight on Talks.
Yes, Yasha's intelligence is 12.
Yeah.
Wisdom and charisma, her dump stats at 9 and 7 respectively.
Yeah.
Crit roll stats, thank you. And Ford is actually a 14 intelligence, so he's on the upper half of the group.
Yeah. Well, we talked about how he was smart enough to multi-class wizard.
Yeah.
So, Sam's cooking up something with his signs. I don't know what. And we didn't get it in this episode.
It's going to be. I'm thinking it's going to
signs for TravelerCon.
I'm thinking it's going to be something along the lines of the pointy hat.
Yeah.
He's going to mess with Laura somehow, and it could very well be end is nigh type signs for TravelerCon.
Yeah. The research at the library. An interesting trip for Caduceus. This was where library scenes have tended more towards the exposition side of things.
Mm-hmm.
This trip was more RP.
Yeah.
I think. Because Marisha kept trying to get Matt to give her stuff that she'd already failed at getting.
Yes.
For a lot of her portion of the scene. And Liam RP'd, digging through his notes and then not and focusing on the task. And then Jester learning that Molly was making his cards.
Yes.
And then crying because this is his art.
Mm-hmm.
And Caduceus trying to figure out who this traveler thing is.
Well, okay, very interesting thing. Taliesin got really stoked in being able to give a tarot lesson. But as he's describing some of Molly's cards, he talks about the moon and how, the reflective, and how he talks about the smaller, darker moon in the reflection. And, Molly worshipped the Moonweaver. And I'm just wondering, it's just, first we had Matt dropping the things about the moon, and that kind of got picked up on and then dropped. And now we've got Taliesin bringing that moon back into the conversation.
Yeah.
And it going over everyone's head. No one took note.
Nope.
Nope. And I found it interesting that when it was the moon, you only saw the one. But when it was the mirror, the reflection, you see the other. So.
Yeah. And
Taliesin, we're picking up what you're putting down.
Well, I don't even know that Taliesin necessarily knows.
Right.
I think he talked with Matt a little bit and got the Moonweaver's perspective on Rudis and things, and he incorporated that into his design for these cards. But I don't think Taliesin knows the whole thing.
Oh no, I don't think so either. But I think had Molly still been here, I think we would have chased the moon angle more.
Yeah.
I think Molly knew something that the rest of the group doesn't, and therefore Taliesin knows something.
Yeah.
That as a player he can't reveal.
For sure.
And it just made me think, that, and I was like, okay, interesting.
Well, and because Matt peppered in when we talked about the one shot and these things falling from Rudis, and what that could mean. Matt actually put that in the episode.
Yeah.
Which I was like, I thought about putting that in our we were right cap, but he sort of prefaced it with, he bookended it with, here's some BS that other people believe too.
Yeah.
So
well,
I can't say we were right, but at least we are thinking in the same way that Matt is.
yes.
That's at least proof of that in concept. Excuse me. And then after that, it's one other thing I wanted to mention from that, from the library scene. Matt mentioned Age of Arcanum satellites.
Yeah.
Falling back into the planet. And he said one of which fell into the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
It's an interesting aside to put in when Liam's looking for stuff falling from the sky. And we were talking about the new book coming out.
Yes.
Whether or not that's a spoiler.
Yes, because it does talk about secrets that are there that could drastically affect the war and everything else that's going on.
So what if that thing that fell from the sky is a vestige?
Yeah, and we do know there are going to be new vestiges. The vestiges that were on Wilde Mount.
Yeah.
Or are on Wilde Mount are going to be in the new book.
Which in interviews he said are more of them are connected to the betrayer gods.
Yes.
Than the good.
Yeah, because in the last book, we had mostly good. We had a few evil. So I'm assuming we'll have a few good ones.
But we already have one.
Yes. Yes.
With Starraiser.
Interesting side note, just because I really want to talk about the book for a second.
Okay.
I do believe that this book makes Exandria the first D&D world that's both Wizards of the Coast, official D&D, and third party. Because Tal'Dorei is Green Ronin, and now Wildemount is official Wizards of the Coast. I don't think they've ever adopted a world that's been put out by a third-party publisher before into their official fold, which is interesting. And also,
I don't know enough about the history of Dark Sun or Eberron.
No, those were both started in TSR in the company.
Okay.
So Eberron was in the 90s. They did a fan-created contest, and like first you built an item, and then it and it went through all these steps, and they narrowed it down, and then the final one it came to 2, and they had to pitch a world, and the winner got their world published, and that's how Eberron became a thing.
Okay.
But it was a Wizard of the Coast TSR backed, supported, run
fan thing, okay.
Fan contest. I remember because I followed it happening. I came up with ideas, but I never actually submitted anything.
But yeah. So they pick up their items.
Yeah.
Back to the episode. The chalice and the bone harp, which I kind of had to do a double take, and it doesn't bother me enough to go back to the episode,
right? To
say but I seem to remember that Matt described a skull with a horn, and there was an artist in the fan art progression that drew an amazing bull skull, longhorn, harp strings, and it looked amazing. And I was like, that's awesome. But in this episode, it's now canonically the item is given, and it is a spinal column.
Yeah.
That is the harp. And as Matt was describing some of the sounds coming out of it, my thought was, that sounds almost like the bridge is coming apart. Like it wasn't made quite right.
Mm.
I mean, a harp doesn't have a bridge, but
yeah,
like I don't know. Sometimes the resonant frequencies you get out of an instrument are intentional, and sometimes they're not.
right.
Although this seems to imply that they are intentional, even if found by accident. So we have Jester trying to talk to the traveler and offering him frozen cream as an offering, which he doesn't take. Now, do you think the traveler didn't appear to her because she wasn't alone, or because Matt wants to force Laura to prepare and use her cleric-y spells the way that Caduceus does?
I think he's just not omnipresent yet, and he was probably dealing with the Knoll or some other follower.
Okay.
Or he's just testing her. He's sitting back and watching and seeing what she's going to do when he doesn't come at her beck and call. He's resetting it to "you're my cleric."
Yeah, maybe. But I think the real reason is because they were all watching her, and she wasn't alone. Because Matt asked them all.
It may be specifically because they were watching her. Because they've all been in the room with her when she's done things, and the traveler's shown up, but they didn't see it. Like scrying and stuff.
But she's using a spell.
That's true.
And that's why, that's the other side of my question.
Yeah.
Is Matt trying to force her to use these spells that higher level clerics get that basically allow them that direct connection. And it's an interesting thing from the perspective of a rising deity to do. Especially if you take the view that cleric spells are an expression of faith.
Yeah.
I have had this direct connection with you for all these years, building your faith. And now that you have it, and you're getting more powerful, I can lay back.
Yeah.
I can step back from this. So that's why I say it's one of those two things.
Okay.
It's Matt wanting to potentially reinforce the idea that Jester is insane, and this is all in her head. Or he's trying to get her to use her cleric spells as a cleric.
Okay.
I'm open.
Yeah.
Likely, both possibilities are wrong.
It's like Invisible Boy and Mystery Men. He can turn invisible, but only when no one's looking at him. So he can talk to her God, but only when no one's watching.
Yep. And then the practical joke through Rosanna was another funny bit. I don't know if it helps their cause. Because embarrassing your fellow dignitaries is never good diplomatically.
Yeah.
So we'll see if that comes back to bite them. Although I think realistically, and he does have the spell, Ford should have been able to counterspell. He would have had to roll, because I'm pretty sure.
And he would have had to do it right away.
Yes.
You know what I think is going to come back to bite him in the ass? That they didn't tell the Bright Queen that she's not getting the stolen beacon back. They're giving her one they found. That there's a third beacon.
No. That was the best thing that they could have done. And Caleb...
And I see where you're coming from. But
he was right. That would only complicate things.
I'm pretty sure Matt specified that they're not all the exact same size and stuff.
True.
So when she gets it, is she going to know, hey, this isn't the one that was stolen?
Here's the thing, though. Trent and everyone involved with the stealing of that beacon know what that beacon looks like.
Mm-hmm.
So they will know how close of a match it is.
That's true.
And if they're going to put this forward, they are doing it so that it will fool the Bright Queen, not the Mighty Nine. So the stolen one and this one have to be close enough in appearance that it's going to pass.
I have a feeling that...
Or they can say, well, this is the one we have. We don't know where that one is then.
Right. And I see and I agree with you to a degree that it was the right move. And it was. However, my thought is when the Bright Queen finds out that it's not the one that was stolen, it's a different one, and that the Mighty Nine knew about this the whole time.
She would never find that out, though. Because if her spies are in the King's Court...
No. I expect one of the Mighty Nine to say something, and that she's going to be like, oh, you fucking knew?
If they do, it will be to Essex. So then it's a question of, does Essex let the Bright Queen know?
True.
And maybe that will be the final loyalty test for Essex.
And speaking of Essex...
Not insight check?
Well, yes, but did you find it odd that he's always kind of complained and you owe me one every time they've asked for transport, and then this time he's like, hey, you guys want transport? I can transport you.
No.
Like, he's not cashing in favors. He's not saying...
Well, the thing is, he was kind of worried in asking that, though. Because it would have meant that he would have to teleport to the Empire. And I don't think he was keen on that. But he was willing to offer it. And I think largely because they only found out about their traitor because of their actions.
Right.
And they weren't even looking for one until the Mighty Nine told them, hey, somebody here is working with them on the other side.
Right.
So...
I just thought it was a little bit of a 180 in his character. From being annoyed / okay, you're going to have to owe me to get this, to just offering it up before they even ask. From almost begrudgingly doing it to offering it, you know.
I don't think it's a 180. Because they had said, you're going to talk to the Bright Queen about this. Well, we have information that will help you in your... And they actually came... From Essex's point of view, they might have come through with what he asked them to do, which was to find that beacon.
Yeah.
Because they said, look, we know where it is. Or we've seen the one that they have.
Yeah.
But you don't have to send anyone after it because we've brokered this deal.
Yeah.
So, on one hand, he might firmly think, they've paid me back. They've done what I've asked. Now I got to get him in my debt again. Mm-hmm. So that could be why he was offering them transport. Or it's a way to test how powerful they are.
That's more believable to me. Because I don't think the beacon was the personal I'm cashing in my favors thing. I think that was, this is what the Empire is expecting you to do. This is your assignment from the Bright Queen. Not, this is, hey, my personal thing.
Unless his personal thing was to find out who stole the beacons. And through other means, they helped him do that. Because I think Essex quest was going to be an internal political matter of the dynasty, not related to what the Bright King wants. So, and maybe related to Knott's inside check.
Maybe. Real quick, Bright Queen.
Yes.
Ready to execute someone.
Yep.
Stayed by the attendant.
Was it an attendant? Or was it... Because my recollection was that it was somebody that they had not seen before in the room. And my read, and I could be wrong, I could be 100, was this was her daughter, an heir?
Possibly. The read I got was very much Padme Amidala.
That the Bright Queen is the bodyguard and the real Bright Queen is this attendant?
Yeah. That was the read I got off of it.
Interesting, but I don't think so.
Because to me it seemed like she's ready to do this thing, and then someone just pipes up, no, you don't want to do... Okay, yeah, no, I don't want to do that. It was kind of like, this person has authority, I need to listen to them, you know. Whereas, like, I don't know, it just seems like in a lot of cases, that would just be, like, totally out of line for this.
So the other option, and this is
the other option is that you're right, and it is a daughter or heir of some kind, and I misread who the person was.
There's a third potential, and that is that maybe she was an attendant, a servant, not a member of the political class. But we have heard snippets that the Bright Queen is paranoid, and this may have been Matt's attempt to show a little bit behind the curtain that the Bright Queen is undergoing an Azula arc.
Okay.
Where her love and fear that she thought she had in controlling all these people has been shattered.
Yeah.
Because the person who sat in that chair, who was the head of one of the dens, betrayed me.
Yeah.
All of us. So this person may be privy to the Queen's private thoughts where everyone else isn't.
That's true.
And it's like, you know, Your Majesty, maybe lay off a little bit.
Yeah.
Because we don't know. She may have been trying to put every motherfucker in the jail.
Yeah, that's true. She may have gone full Red Queen.
Yeah. And Essek and the other people were able to play a shell game to forestall that.
And now that you say that, that is kind of the vibe the room had.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah, I mean, that was the first instance where I thought that, you know, but then again, when the handmaid says to, that's the first time you think that there too.
Yeah, true. But it took me back to, you know, King Gwendol and the Bright Queen may not be an eligible marriage for union, but their children might be.
True.
Which is why I sort of glommed onto that could have been the Bright Queen's daughter.
Okay. I mean,
because I don't remember him describing her in detail.
Yeah, no.
Just somebody spoke up.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Although one thing they gave me a stick for your Romeo and Juliet theory was that the cover art for the book is the Bright Queen and King Dwindle.
Yeah.
You got that vibe too?
Yeah.
I was like, okay.
Yeah.
That's one for Dan.
Especially with her being the angle that she is presented at.
Yeah.
And sort of behind, and King Dwindle sort of looking down.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, okay, this is a power marriage. She's the one with the power, though.
Yeah.
So, yeah, same. But we had a potential solution, for lack of a better word, to the conflict. Because Essek and the Bright Queen were like, face-to-face is going to happen. Maybe through a mirror or something, they'll talk remotely.
Right.
Which means sending stones being exchanged.
Yeah.
And this is going to be just like
like the mirrors that Alora had.
Yeah, but it's going to serve the same purpose that the White House and the Kremlin
The red
had
phone, yeah.
their red phone installed. And it was, pick it up, it goes directly to the president's office in Moscow or to the president's office in D.C.
Yep.
To facilitate instant communication so that we don't start shooting each other with nuclear weapons.
Yep.
So that may be a solution outside of marriage that can bring some stability and peace to the continent. And the Mighty Nine are in the position to offer that solution, or dare I say, force that solution on the people. Because they basically forced themselves to be at the meeting. And I think some part of me wonders if Matt was giving them an out.
To go do all this other shit.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I felt it was.
And
they're like, nope, we're coming.
And as a DM, you do occasionally want to do that. Especially if it's an arc that you just sort of wanted to put your toes in to give a different flavor for a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's not exactly what everyone sort of wanted to do.
Or one where they've done X, Y, and Z, and that's what's the requirements for this to be facilitated. I'm going to give them the out so they can go do other things, and this will just work itself out.
Right.
You know.
Yeah. And they should definitely scry on Darrow.
Yeah. Because
I think his client is either Ikathon or more likely Astrid. Yeah. Yeah. I just immediately was like, yeah, it's that grouping. Because, and here's why I think that. It has to be somebody that saw him fight at Zadash. Which means Ormond Haas and Trent Ikathon. Yeah. But Ikathon hasn't been in the city, but I could see Ikathon hiring Darrow and his boys to guard his manor, which would include Astrid. No, I full on my first thought was, yeah, Ikathon's the one that hired him. Yeah. MVP, real quick, last minute. Mine, I went back and forth. And I think I settled on Sam. But I really wanted to give it to Laura as sort of the linchpin of everything. But I think I give it to Sam because of all of them, he was the most, we gotta go. Yeah. He moved the story the most. And he also had the biggest laugh at the table. When he's like, Sprinkle's been dead for weeks. Jester's just been dipping her cleric toes into the necromancy spells. I love Taliesin sort of, I'll just create undead on this weasel. Yeah, it is. So, yeah, I think next episode will be more focus, I think.
I think so too.
But we will see you guys next week where we will talk about that. You're going to go enjoy Talks Machnia.
I guess.